Part 3 on the topic Legal Consideration for Forming a Business Partnership. We are delighted to have you all join us once again as we continue our exploration of this fascinating topic.
Indeed, it's wonderful to see familiar faces and new participants joining us today. We hope you had a restful day and are ready to dive into another session filled with valuable insights and discussions.
Exactly, Tia. Today, again, we have an exceptional lineup of speakers who bring a wealth of knowledge and practical insights to our table. So, without further delay, let's introduce our esteemed speakers for today's session.
Our first speaker is Mr. George Isaac, a renowned legal consultant and litigating lawyer at Estudio Juridico, Peru. He holds a law degree from the Catholic University of Santa Maria and doctorates in law and administration from the National University Federico Villarreal. He is also the president of the Interdisciplinary School of Fundamental Rights, uh, Praminentia Lustria. Uh, Mr. Thoris Mandrick has authored or co-authored over 150 legal works published in 18 countries with a focus on fundamental rights and interdisciplinary law. He also co-directs the annotated criminal codes of Ecuador, Colombia, Chile, and Panama. His global legal expertise and scholarly contributions make him a valuable voice on international legal systems and human rights.
Our next speaker for today is none other than Mr. Kakuru Tumusime, a senior advocate at Turaki and Company Associates. Mr. Tumusime brings a wealth of legal expertise to a table with a focus on providing strategic legal solutions in various areas of law. His experience encompasses both litigation and consultancy from Nigeria, making him a versatile legal professional.
Next up, we have Dr. Tamanna Khosla, director at Prajna Initiative and a distinguished scholar in political theory and philosophy with academic roots in Lady Shriram College and Jawaharlal Nehru University, where she earned her MA, MPhil, and PhD. Dr. Khosla's work centers around multiculturalism, feminism, and legal theory. She has also taught at Delhi University and is currently pursuing a degree in law to further enrich her interdisciplinary expertise. She is the author of several influential works, including Personal Law in India, Balancing Cultural Diversity and Gender Equality, Feminist Political Philosophy, and Feminism and Individualism, a Symbiotic Relationship. Her upcoming titles, Feminist Manifesto and Feminist Jurisprudence, are already generating global academic interest with translations underway in major languages. Dr. Khosla's thought leadership continues to shape critical conversations on gender, law, and cultural identity across the world.
Next up, we have none other than Ms. Suvanna Monti, an accomplished international lawyer and mediator currently practicing before the High Court of Argentina. Graduate of the University of Buenos Aires, Ms. Monti specializes in tax laws and has over a decade of experience in mediation and alternative dispute resolution (ADR). She has been actively contributing to legal education, teaching commercial, corporate tax, and consumer laws, along with arbitration at both undergraduate and graduate levels. In addition to her academic and legal practice, Ms. Monti serves as the director of the Tax Law Institute at the Moron Bar Association in Argentina. She is also pursuing her doctorate and has completed Argentina's first diploma in cybercrime, reflecting her commitment to staying at the forefront of emerging legal domains. Ms. Monti brings a rich blend of academic insights and practical legal experiences, particularly in dispute resolution and evolving areas of law, making her contributions specifically relevant in the context of modern legal challenges in business partnerships today.
Next, we have Ms. Taya Islam, Executive Director at AIM Initiative Foundation and Country Manager at Herval Bangladesh. With over 7 years of experience in non-profit leadership, she champions gender equality, climate education, and inclusive development, a global schools program advocate and climate change fellow at Teach for All. Taya is actively working on educational reform in Southeast Asia. Her work reflects a deep commitment to empowering underrepresented communities through STEM leadership and social impact initiatives.
Our final speaker for today is none other than Dr. Pablo Banchio, a senior professor at FICS US with extensive expertise in law and human rights. Dr. Banchio holds a PhD in private law and multiple postdoctorates, including a cum laude degree in new technologies and law from the University of Reggio Calabria, Italy. He is also the director of the postdoctoral program in human rights and artificial intelligence at Università Virtual Innovativa, Italy, and the Centro di Studi Giuridici Ricerca Internazionale, US. He is a professor at the Euro Mediterranean University and a member of the Center for Private Law at the National Academy of Sciences of Buenos Aires, Argentina. His work spans the intersection of business law, human rights, and emerging technologies. We are grateful for all of your presence and eagerly anticipate your valuable insights and contributions to today's conference. Would also like to inform all of you that the HR team will be conducting polls in the chat box throughout the session. We encourage active participants from the attendees and panelists alike. Now, before starting with the conference, we would like to request all the participants and our panelists for today's to kindly switch on your webcams to ensure a two-way interactive session. Sailata, Kiranmai, Vineet, Musharrat, Rukaiya, Nidhi, Geeta, and all the panelists we have for today. We again kindly request you to switch on your webcams and ensure a two-way interactive session. And we also request all the attendees to kindly have a pen and a notepad handy in case you want to jot down anything important. Now, moving ahead, we would like to go with a recording of Mr. George Isaac Torres Manrique's speech since he had certain technical issues today from his nation and couldn't attend today's session. So, please do tell me if my uh, screen is visible. Is my screen visible, Ms. Bajpai?
I can't see it.
I guess there's a technical issue from my end. Can you please try sharing your screen, Ms. Bajpai, with Mr. George's video? Sure.
Sure.
I'll try once more. Okay, I guess my screen is not going. Or is it visible? Is my screen visible now, Ms. Bajpai? By any chance? If my screen is visible, please raise your hands, participants. In case if my screen is visible, please do raise your hands. Is it visible, Ms. Bajpai, on your end? Not visible.
No, it's not.
Okay, okay. I guess you try doing it from your end in that case.
Okay, sure.
Sure, sure. Will you be able to share your screen, Ms. Vajpayee? Or would you like us to go with the next panelist till then?
I think we can continue with the next one.
Sure, sure, sure. Fine.
Yeah.
So until Ms. Bajpai gets Mr. Torres' video, I would like to invite Mr. Kakure Tumusime to commence his speech and share his insights with all of us. Yeah. Am I audible, Mr. Kakuru? Okay, I guess Mr. Tumusime hasn't joined us yet. Just a second. There's a lot of network issue today, I guess. Yeah, sure. I would like to invite Ms. Tahia Islam to commence her speech and share her insights with all of us. Yeah. Am I audible, Ms. Islam?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, you're
Uh,
on.
okay, thank you. I left a message in the chat. If it's possible, can any of the organizers read it? Because it'll be helpful for me if I start after 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
Um, yeah, you can turn on your video as in for the duration when you speak and you can close it later on. I hope that works, Ms. Islam. Am I audible, Ms. Islam?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to take it over from here, Ms. Bajpai?
Okay. Um, Okay, we'll call up the next speaker then. Um, let's welcome Ms. Susanna Monti, and I request her to comment her speech.
Hello, good morning. Can I help you? My name is Susan Monti. I am not speaking very well. Si puedo compartir una presentación, ahí estamos, a ver si la entienden. Okay. Yo voy a hablar de la resolución alternativa de conflictos y voy a compartirles ahora la Convención de Singapur. Al listing, ¿me pueden escuchar bien? Ahí vamos a compartir. Ahí
Yeah,
estamos.
sure, Susanna. You can just share your screen.
Ahí compartimos. Okay.
Sure.
Ahora sí. Bien. Ahí va. Vamos a poner acá. Bueno, yo voy a hablar de la Convención de Singapur. La Convención de Singapur, ahí pueden verla, es sobre mediación. Algunos países han mundializado la práctica comercial actual, los avances tecnológicos, la creciente complejidad de las relaciones privadas comerciales, sobre todo las internacionales, las controversias que confluyen en distintos ordenamientos jurídicos cuya resolución a través de la justicia ordinaria en muchas ocasiones no resulta la más idónea. La tendencia global es recurrir al arbitraje. En el caso de la génesis de la Convención de Singapur en el año 2024, tiene origen en una propuesta presentada por el gobierno de Estados Unidos a la Comisión de las Naciones Unidas para el Derecho Mercantil Internacional. Todos quienes quieran dedicarse al comercio, a las empresas, necesitan conocer justamente la Convención de Singapur y los métodos de resolución alternativa de conflictos. Finalmente, en el año 2018, 2019 y entra en vigor en el 2020. ¿Quiénes son los países que han firmado este convenio, esta convención internacional? Por ejemplo, la India firmó en el año
Yeah, Susanna, excuse me.
2019.
Could you please
Sí,
continue in English? It would be a bit difficult for the audience to understand.
ok.
Sure.
Bueno, con el objetivo de impulsar firmemente la promoción de la mediación, la Convención proporciona al fin un marco jurídico armonizado sobre la ejecución de los acuerdos resultantes de este mecanismo de resolución de conflictos. No obstante, su ámbito de aplicación es muy concreto y no engloba la totalidad de los acuerdos que pueden alcanzar las partes en una controversia. En el artículo 1 podemos leer que esta convención será aplicable a todo un acuerdo resultante de la mediación, que haya sido celebrado por escrito por las partes con el fin de resolver una controversia comercial. Esa transacción y que en el momento de celebrarse sea internacional debido a que al menos dos de las partes en el acuerdo de transacción tienen sus establecimientos en estados diferentes. O en el caso del inciso B, se requiere que el estado en que las partes en el acuerdo de transacción tienen sus establecimientos no es el estado en que se cumple una parte sustancial de la obligación derivada del acuerdo. Y que justamente el Estado que está más estrechamente vinculado al objeto del acuerdo de transacción. Ámbito de aplicación. La convención no será aplicable a los acuerdos de transacción, a los concertados para resolver controversias que surjan de operaciones en las que una de las partes, un consumidor, participe con fines personales, familiares o domésticos. No es tampoco de aplicación en las relaciones con el derecho de familia, de las sucesiones o el derecho laboral, simplemente en la parte comercial. Concepto de mediación. La mediación, ¿no es cierto?, es cualquiera que sea la expresión utilizada, la razón por la que se haya entablado un procedimiento mediante el cual las partes traten de llegar a un acuerdo amistoso de su controversia, con la asistencia de uno o más terceros del mediador que garantizan justamente o carezcan de la autoridad para imponer una solución. Otros aspectos, tenemos libertad de formas, aplicación de las normas procesales locales, la validez de la firma y el lenguaje. El lenguaje puede ser de distintos modos, español, inglés, etc. Bueno, la conclusión es justamente que debemos hacer que cada vez más los países de América, Europa, India, todos conozcan y se unan a esta Convención de Singapur, como así también ampliar otros temas, no solo los comerciales, sino también de familia, consumidor y todo. Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias. Bye.
Sure, that was a great speech, Susanna. Um, yeah. I would like to request you to share your email ID and your contact details in the chat box for any participants to connect with you in case they have any queries. Hope that works. Sure. Ms. Bajpai, would you like to take it over from now?
Yeah, sure. Mrs. Anna Monty, that was a really wonderful speech. And moving ahead, I would like to invite Mr. Pablo Manchio to share his perspectives.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. My name is Pablo Banchio, and the title of my presentation is Human Rights and Corporate Responsibility. First time, it's a real pleasure to be here with you, with all of you today. Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to speak on a topic that is becoming more and more important every day: human rights and corporate responsibility. Now, I'd like to begin with the question: what kind of world do you want to live in? Most of us would say a world where people are treated with dignity, a world where children go to school, not to work in dangerous factory, or a world where workers are paid fairly, where communities are safe, and where companies do not destroy the environment just to make only money. This is the kind of world that human rights try to protect. And it's also the kind of world that responsible companies can help build. What are human rights? Let's take a moment to define shortly human rights. Human rights are the basic rights and freedom that belong to every human being. This includes the right to life, to be free from slavery, to have access to education, to enjoy fair working conditions, and to live without fear or discrimination. These rights are universal, which means that they apply to everywhere, regardless of nationality, gender, religion, age, or income. They are also indivisible. You cannot pick and choose some rights while ignoring others. Human rights were clearly outlined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted by the United Nations, and they have been booming in many international treaties and national law ever since. But the reality is very, very different. Across the world, human rights continue to be violated, sometimes in various serious ways. We see child labor in the supply chains of clothing and food companies, for example, here in America, in South America. We hear about workers in factories. We are denied basic safety equipment, and in some cases, people are forced to work against their will, with no pay and no protection. This is a modern slavery. And sadly, companies are often involved in many of these cases. What is corporate responsibility? The second argument of my presentation. This brings us to the questions of corporate responsibility. In the past, many people believed that the only job of a company was to make money for its shareholders, but that idea is now changing, and for good reasons. Today, society expects businessmen to do more. Companies are powerful, they have resources, influence, and global reach. With that power comes responsibility to respect human rights, to protect the environment, and to contribute to the well-being of communities. This is what we call corporate social responsibility. But more specifically, we now talk about human rights due diligence. This means that companies must take active steps to avoid causing harm and to fix things if harm does occur. This idea is reflected in the United Nations Guiding Principles of Business and Human Rights, often called UNGPs, adopted in 2011. They are built on three pillars. States must protect human rights. Business must respect human rights. There must be remedies available when rights are violated. This message is clear. Companies are not above the law, and ethics cannot be optional. So we should this matter to companies. First of all, because it is simple, the right thing to do. No business should benefit from expoliation, injustice, or environment destruction. But there are also practical reasons. Respecting human rights helps companies build trust with customers, with investors and employees. It reduces the risk of scandals, lawsuits, and boycotts, for example, and it creates a positive image that people want to be associated with the companies. In fact, we now live in an age of what some call ethical consumerism. People want to buy products that are made fairly. They want to work for organizations that share their values. They expect transparency and not just marketing slogans. And younger generation, most of you, in particular, millennials and Gen Z, are demanding change. They are choosing brands that care, and they are quick to expose to those who don't. So, in the end, human rights and business success are not opposites. They go hand in hand. Companies actually do. The good news is that there are practical steps companies can take. These don't require perfection, but they don't require commitment and transparency. Let me share three simple but powerful actions. Now your impact. First, companies need to examine their entire operation. That includes suppliers, subcontractors, and partners. Where are the risks? Is your product causing environment harm? It starts with asking questions and being honest about the answers. The second powerful action is prevent harm. One risk are now the companies must act. That means setting clear rules, training employees, monitoring performance, and making ethical choices, especially when are difficult. For example, if a supplier is now to use child labor, don't look the other way. find a better alternative or work to improve conditions. And the third, take responsibility. No company is perfect. Mistakes happen, but when they do, business must be ready to fix the problem, apologize, for example, if needed, and compensate this effect and learn from experience. People respect companies that are willing to grow. Example of positive change, let's take a moment to look at real world example. For example, some fashion brands are now publishing full list of their suppliers so the public can see where products are made. Some electronic companies conduct independent audits of their factories to check safety and worker rights, and others have created grievance mechanisms allowing workers to report abuse confidentiality, for example. Even major food and beverage companies are now investing in fair trade and climate protection. Now, none of these companies are perfect, of course, but these actions show that change is possible and that human rights can be built into the core of business. Before I finish, I want to underline one last message. Protecting human rights is a shared responsibility. Governments must lead the way with strong law and enforcement, but business must follow with real actions, not just promise. And we, as consumers, workers, and citizens, must continue to speak up, ask questions, and demand better, like is this conference 4x4. Because in the end, we all want to the same thing: a fairer, safer, more respectful world. A world where companies are not part of the problems, but part of the solution. So let us not forget, every business decision is a moral decision. Every product has a story, and every company has the power to build a future where human rights are respected, not ignored. Let me end with a simple idea. Human rights are everyone's responsibility, not just government, not just lawyers, but also businesses. Every company, big or small, has the power to make a positive difference. Let's choose that future. Let's make responsibility part of the business model. Let's prove that profit and principles can grow together. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pablo Banquio. It was really a very insightful speech. And if you could just share your email ID in the chat box, if any of our audience has any questions, they can reach out to you.
Yes.
Moving ahead, I would like to invite Mr. Ms. Tamanna Khosla, and I request her to comment her speech.
Yeah, Dr. Khosla, are we audible?
I'm hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, you're audible, Doctor.
Okay.
Please switch on your webcam too.
Yeah. So today's title of my speech is on IP clauses in the partnership agreement to avoid disputes. So, incorporated, well drafted intellectual property clauses in a partnership agreement is crucial to avoid disputes over ownership, usage, licensing, and commercialization of IP assets. Below are key IP related clauses to include. First is the definition of intellectual property. Clearly define what constitutes IP under the agreement, including patents, trademarks, copyrights, trade secrets, domain names, software code, business know-how, GE, all of them. Second, Secondly, ownership of pre-existing IP. Specify that each partner retains ownership of the pre-existing IP brought into the partnership. Secondly, clarify whether any pre-existing IP is licensed to the partnership and under what terms. Thirdly, ownership of newly created IP. State whether newly developed IP belong to the partnership jointly, the individual creator, a separate legal identity, include work for hire languages if applicable, ensuring partnership owns employee contractor created IP. Fourthly, licensing terms, if applicable. If partner license their IP to the partnership, define scope of use, duration, loyalties, termination conditions. Fifthly, IP developed during the partnership. Establish clear rules for IP created during partnership, joint ownership versus single partner ownership, right to commercialize, modify, or sub-license, profit sharing from IP derived revenue. Secondly, confidentiality and trade secrets require partners to maintain confidentiality, define what constitutes confidential information. Thirdly, prohibit unauthorized disclosure or misuse. Then, seventhly, dispute resolution for IP conflict. Specify mechanisms for resolving IP disputes, mediation, arbitration, which is like very common these days in every place we have ADR happening. People are like, why to go to the courts, and like, why not settle it outside the court? So the mediation happens here. Jurisdiction and governing laws, example, state court laws, etc. Then, eighthly, post dissolution IP rights. Address what happens to IP if the partnership dissolves. Buyout option for IP ownership. Secondly, continued license terms. Thirdly, division of jointly owned IP. Ninthly, indemnification for IP infringement ensures partners indemnify each other against the third party IP claims arising from their contributions. So then I would like to point out that non-compete and non-solicitation, if needed, restrict partners from using partnership IP for competing ventures post-exit. So the recommendations would be consult an IP attorney to tailor clause to your partnership structure and industry-specific risks. Properly drafted IP provision can prevent costly litigation and ensure smooth collaboration. And that's why these days we are talking a lot about ADR. I mean, it's being taught in colleges, etc. So that people from the very beginning, big companies like Reliance, etc., are relying on arbitration as a means, so that on the across, you don't have to sit in the courts for lengthy time and like waste your time and money on these things. You settle it amicably. So, ownership of existing IP. Each partner shall retain all rights, title, and interest in and to any intellectual property owned by the partner prior to the effective date of the agreement. Use of pre-existing IP by partnership shall be subject to a separate written license agreement if applicable. Secondly, ownership of developed IP. All intellectual property created, developed, or acquired by the partners jointly in connection with the activities of partnership shall be jointly owned by the partners unless otherwise agreed in writing. Then, assignment of rights. Each partner agrees to assign and hereby does assign to the partnership all rights, titles, and an interest in any developed IP they create within the scope of partnership. Then, fourthly, use of IP upon termination. Upon termination of the partnership and developed IP shall be distributed, licensed or otherwise dealt with in accordance with the partner's ownership interests or as otherwise written in writing. Confidentiality, confidentiality and protection. Each partner agrees to take reasonable steps to protect the confidentiality of the partnership intellectual property and to not use it to disclosure such IP outside the partnership without prior written consent from other partners. Then, in today's fast-paced world of innovation, patent partnership allows companies and inventors to combine resources, knowledge, and expertise to create something groundbreaking. However, in any collaboration, ownership and control of the resulting intellectual property can become complex. A well-structured patent partnership agreement can clarify IP ownership and set expectations, helping both parties to collaborate effectively while protecting their rights. So, yeah. A background IP clause specifies what each party owns before the collaboration begins. This is called the background IP clause. This clause ensures that each party retains ownership of their existing patents, designs, technologies, or trade secrets. By defining background IP clearly, you can prevent misunderstandings about what belongs to whom if the collaboration ends or if dispute arises. For example, if one party is contributing a proprietary technology as part of the collaboration, the agreement should clarify that this technology remains their exclusive property, including a detailed list of each party's backgrounds. IP is an appendix or schedule can add, clarify, and avoid confusion later. Foreground IP clause. Foreground IP represents any invention, patents, or innovations created during the partnership. This clause defines who will own the IP that results from the collaborative work. Then licensing rights and usage is there. Then exclusive versus non-exclusive licensing. The agreement should specify whether licenses granted are exclusive or non-exclusive. And exclusive license means that only the license has the right to use the IP in particular way or within a defined region, often including even the original IP owner from using it in that way. A non-exclusive license, on the other hand, allows multiple parties, including IP owners, to use it. So, yeah. How much time do I have?
5 more minutes, Dr. Khosla.
Okay, yeah, just a second.
Sure.
Uh, then, coordination for international links. If partnership intends to file patents in multiple countries, the agreement should outline the plan for international filings. International patents require careful coordination as different countries have varying rules and requirements. Deciding who will oversee international filings and specifying how costs will be shared can streamline the process. Additionally, the agreement might outline which partner has the right to decide where to file patents internationally, ensuring their filing align with both parties' strategic interests. By detailing international filing responsibilities, the partnership can secure patent protection in all necessary jurisdiction and without disputes. Confidentiality and non-disclosure obligation in any patent partnership, sensitive information, trade secrets, and proprietary data will likely be exchanged. Confidentiality clauses are essential to ensure that each party's proprietary knowledge is protected from unauthorized disclosure or misuse. And then drafting confidential information to avoid ambiguity, it is helpful to define what constitutes confidential information within the agreement. This can include technical data, design, business plans, financial information, and any other information not generally known to the public. By clearly outlining what each party must protect, you reduce the risk of misunderstanding and ensure that all sensitive information is handled with care. Then scope and duration of confidentiality. The confidentiality clause should also specify how long each party is obligated to keep information confidential. Some partnerships require confidentiality to last only for duration of partnership, while others might extend it indefinitely, particularly if the information remains commercially valuable after the project's completion. So yeah, and defining revenue splits, revenue sharing agreements typically specify how profits generated from the IP will be divided. This could be based on each party's investment contribution or negotiated terms that align with their primary roles in the partnership. By clearly defining revenue splits, you create a straightforward framework for distribution, minimizing the risk of disagreement. Then establishing royalty payments in addition to revenue sharing, royalty payment are another way of to compensate partners who contribute with valuable IP or technology. The agreement should specify royalty terms, including payment amount, frequency, and duration. For instance, if one party licenses their technology to the other, they may receive royalties based on sales or usage or another metric. So, this can prevent future disputes and ensure compliance with relevant tax regulations. Invention disclosure and assignment. To protect each party's rights, it's crucial to have a process for disclosing new inventions and
Yeah,
assigning.
excuse me, Dr. Fosla. I would like to request you to wrap it up in 2 minutes if possible.
Sure. Sorry. Yeah. So, um, so yeah. So the impact of on IP ownership and responsibilities agreement should outline how force major events will impact IP ownership, project timelines, and financial responsibility. For example, if a disruption causes delays, both parties may agree to pause patent filing or maintenance activities. Alternatively, if one party is unable to continue their contribution, the agreement might allow the others to assume full control of the IP. These contingency plans help ensure the IP remains protected even in changing circumstances. So, but lastly, I wanted to just say was that a solid patent partnership agreement is the backbone of any successful collaboration, laying out clear expectations, protection, and benefits for all involved. By establishing ownership terms, protecting sensitive information, setting up fair revenue sharing, and planning for every phase of the partnership from inception to potential end, partners can build a foundation of trust and mutual respect. This clarity allows each party to focus on innovation, confident that their contributions are safeguarded and valued. In today's competitive landscape, a well drafted patent partnership agreement is essential for maximizing the potential of shared projects with the right clauses in the place. Partners can create collaboration environment that not only achieve a shared goals but also represent respects each other's rights and promoting long-term growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fosla, for your amazing insights and speed. Please do share your email ID and contact details in the chat box for any queries that our
Sure.
attendees would like to reach out to you. Sure.
Sure.
Now, moving ahead, I would like to invite Mr. Kakure Tumusime from Nigeria to share his insights with all of us. Am I audible, Mr. Tumusime?
Yes, hello, good evening to
That's
you
great.
all. Am I audible?
Yes, sorry, audible.
Mm. Can everyone hear me?
Could you please turn on your webcam, Mr. Tumusime?
I'm turning on my camera.
You're not visible.
Oh, I should be more visible.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try to. little more light. Is that better? Hello?
I'm not sure if you're not visible to me due to network issues. Ms. Bajpai, is Mr. Tumusime's webcam visible?
No.
No, Mr.
No.
Tumusime. I suggest you just check your webcam once.
Let me change it to another machine. You can give me
Sure.
one, you can give me 5 minutes. I change to a different machine.
Sure. As you feel comfortable.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me do it.
Yeah, Mr. Tumusime, if you could just make it a bit fast. I would like to request all the participants and panelists to actively participate in the poll questions, please. Am I audible, Miss Islam? Miss Tahia Islam, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Till Mr. Tumusime actually connects with his webcam, would you like to go?
Yes, sure. So I want to start off by showing a video. Is that possible?
Yeah. You can just switch on your webcam and you can begin. That's great. Sure.
Okay. Give me like 1 minute, okay?
Moving ahead, we would like to invite Ms. Tahia Islam from Bangladesh to commence her speech and share her insights with all of us today.
Are you visible and audible both at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. This is Tahia Islam. I will be talking a little bit about my organization in Bangladesh, which is a non-profit organization. And before getting into that, I really want to know, because we know that there are a lot of university students here present with us, listening to us. So what I want from all of you is we have a chat box in the Google Meet. So I would appreciate if you guys write down like what's your name, where you're studying, and what are you studying in? Are you in your first year or second year or final year? Just introduce yourself in the chat box.
I would like to request all the participants to please drop an introduction of yourself in the chat box.
Thank you so much. I see a lot of you are responding. So without further ado, I have already shared my screen. So what I'm going to do right now is that I am going to show you a very short video of our nonprofit organization. The name of our organization is AIM Initiative Foundation. And Bhavna Kumari has raised her hand. Yes, would you like to say anything? Okay, I think we can continue. So basically what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to show our organization's video. And after the video, what I want from all of you is that the way that you have introduced yourselves in the chat box, I want the very same way you would write in the chat box about what you understood from the video. Like you will see the video and then you will write down in the chat box that what this organization is about and what are we working on and what did you understand from the video. So thanks. I know that some of you are still writing. Keep doing that. Keep writing your introduction. I am moving on to the video. Please let me know if you can hear the audio as well.
So the audio is not audible, Ms. Islam.
The audio is not available?
Yeah, your audio is not audible. The audio.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me try one more time. When I'm sharing the video, also that's it. Now I got it.
$37.6 million people in Bangladesh
Is it audible now?
Yeah, now it's audible.
Okay.
Yes, it's audible.
live below the poverty line. 2.6 million are still unemployed, and 1 out of 4 people cannot read and write. And behind these extreme numbers, the major reasons are lack of quality education, insufficient skills to be employed, extreme hunger, and lack of access to the healthcare facilities. That's where the AIM Initiative Foundation is working on. We provide quality education to underprivileged children to ultimately increase their employment opportunities in Bangladesh. We have AIM School in Meradia, where 101 underprivileged children are being educated to NCTB English version curriculum. We provide counseling to their parents about the importance of their children's education. We are running Project Learn to Be, where we provide skills to these children such as arts and crafts, computer education, painting, and so on. With our project Gure Darao, we ensure self-employment of the underprivileged community through your jakat and other financial contribution. We provide the families with the rickshaw, vans, sewing machines, etc. that ensure their self-employment. Through our healthcare programs, we provide healthcare screening and consultation to the children and their parents. We also provide medicines and diagnosis support when necessary. Our awareness campaigns include Project Her, through which we are working on ensuring menstrual hygiene, breaking the taboo against menstruation by raising awareness and teaching young women about the proper usage of sanitary pads. We also launch health awareness programs such as chikungunya and COVID-19 campaigns. gender equality programs such as basic self-defense workshops, women empowerment programs such as Stand Against Rape and Abuse. Under our various other responsibilities, we ensure annual winter clothes distribution, annual iftar and Eid dress distribution, food distribution to low-income families affected in COVID-19, 100 sets of PPE distribution to healthcare professionals, online awareness through social media statements and video messages, Ramadan food distribution during COVID-19 to low-income families. At AIM Initiative Foundation, we believe in commitment through our work. In the coming 10 years, we aim to establish 10 AIM schools in Bangladesh, ensuring self-employment of 1,750 low-income families through our project, Guradara, impacting more than 100,000 young women with Project Her, and create and empower today's volunteers to become tomorrow's leaders. Our vision is to dissolve poverty from Bangladesh through quality education, skills development, healthcare support, and community empowerment.
Hi, I'm back. I think you all got to see the video, and I think this time the audio was also there. So now I want you to take like 1 minute of time and just write down in the comment box whatever you thought of the video. How did it make you feel? Did you understand anything? Do you have any questions? Do you want to say something? Do you want to ask something? Anything that you want to after seeing the video, just write in the comment box. We're just going to take 1 minute, and then I will go through the questions, and I will go and I directly go to my presentation. Thank you so much for the comment. If anybody else wants to add anything or say anything. Okay, I want to ask one more question. I think that will help you all to answer some things. Like most of you here are studying in college. So do you work anywhere as volunteers? Do you volunteer for any cause? Okay, we got a response. Yes. Okay, Ruchi, Lahiri, and anybody else? Great. Devrupa. Great, good. So I can assume that you pretty much know what it means to be a volunteer. There we go. So Pledge a Smile Foundation, National Human Rights Commission. Thanks. So basically, as you all are college students, and you will be pursuing your university, or maybe you will be pursuing your higher studies, or you will be pursuing in your careers, you know that skills is something, leadership skills is something that you can learn about and you can practice. So if I today tell you that, okay, if you want to be a very good presentation maker or public speaker, then you have to do this, this, and this. If I tell you that, you will learn about it. But if you don't practice, then you will never be able to become a good presentation maker or a public speaker. So leadership skills are some skills that you really need to practice and you really need to do with your teammates, team members, or friends, so that you get very good at it, because these are skills that you need to learn through hands-on experiences. Through our nonprofit organization in Bangladesh, what we do is we definitely work for the society. We work for the underprivileged people, underprivileged children. But how do we do that? We have different kinds of programs. We have education programs, we have environment programs, we have healthcare programs, we have social causes programs, we have different kinds of programs that are run by our volunteers. So anybody who is studying in a college or school or university can sign up online and become the volunteer for AIM Initiative Foundation. By signing up, that person can join us as a volunteer either virtually or by being engaged with us in our field activities. So I understand that you all live in India and I live in Bangladesh. My organization is in Bangladesh, but all of us are working for the same goal in one way or the other, is that how can we practice leadership skills better and become the leaders of tomorrow, and how can we have our own organizations, and how can we help more people in the process. So if you guys want to become volunteers or practice your volunteering skills or your leadership skills, you can send me an email and we can start a conversation. I'm sharing my email address here. I'm also sharing my WhatsApp number with my country code so that you guys can reach out to me and know about different kinds of volunteering opportunities. That is not only going to be helpful for the society or the country or the world, but is also going to be extremely helpful for your professional and personal development. Now, if I go to my presentation, which I prepared, I'll be very brief about it. I will not take much time. Please let me know if you can see the screen. Can you all see the screen? Can you all see the screen? The presentation?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Okay, great. So basically, what I really wanted to let you all know is that I wanted to let you all know that how AIM Initiative Foundation empowers future leaders. So we organize different kinds of leadership activities and volunteering activities, which actually help people like you practice those skills. For example, when we organize a community event, we need different kinds of teams. We need teams who will run the social media campaign. We need teams who will run the campaign in the field. We need teams who will be handling the budgeting. We need teams who will be handling the whole project. So in these different teams, we need different kinds of volunteers. And these volunteers, by working with one another and working in the project itself, they'll learn how to enhance not only their leadership skills, but also their technical skills. For example, how to use a Microsoft Word, how to use Microsoft Excel, Google Sheet, how to use AI tools. These are the things that our volunteers learn on the go. They help the society, they work for a social cause, and they learn all of these skills in the process. And we mentor them, we train them with these skills so that they can learn from us, and at the same time, they can participate in these activities without any problem. So what do we basically do? We provide free quality education to the underprivileged children of Bangladesh, and then we provide them with different kinds of skills like computer skills, computer learning skills, arts and craft skills, cultural skills like singing, dancing, etc. Now, I know that I can I make presentations and I can speak in front of people, but I don't know how to sing, right? But I know that a lot of you here know how to sing. So if I want to teach the children singing, if I want to teach somebody how to sing, then I would need a singer. And who can be that singer who is teaching them? One of you, one of our volunteers. Then how are we building responsibility? For example, we have Project Her, Project Breathe, our Project Learn to Be. All of these projects you have seen in all of these projects you have seen in the video. These projects help the people in the society, but what it does in return is it helps the volunteers to learn some valuable skills like empathy, compassion, and how technically one can run this project. Am I clearly audible, or is there any problem? Because my internet is having a little bit of an issue. That's why I'm asking. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Okay, great. And then what do we have? So we have some annual events. The first main annual event is that we have winter in Bangladesh. So in winter, technically they are a group of people who suffer in the winter season because they do not have the affordability to buy winter clothes or blankets. So during winter, what our volunteer team does is that they reach out to people, they reach out to different communities, they do a fundraising campaign, and then they collect winter clothes or winter blankets so that we can provide this to the communities who need those support during winter. This creates a very wholesome practical experience for the volunteers, and this also builds their teamwork capacities. Then we have a sponsored child program. So we have a school in Dhaka by the name AIM Initiative Foundation School, and this school basically has 210 students who are studying there totally free of cost. They don't have to pay any tuition fee to study there because they don't have the affordability to pay anything. That is why we are running this free school, and you can volunteer in this school virtually. You can make lesson plans for the students' subjects. You can make different kinds of project plans for them so that they can execute those in the schools. You can also become supporters. Yes.
Can you please wrap it up in just 2 minutes? We actually have 2 more panelists waiting.
Yes, sure. So there are multiple ways where you can support sponsor a child program as a volunteer, as a supporter, as a donor, in whichever way you want to. And then we have health awareness campaigns where we do different kinds of campaigns. So for example, I know that if I asked any one of you here what cancer is, you would be able to tell me what cancer is. But if I ask in a poor rural area to any person what cancer is, they wouldn't be able to tell me what cancer is because they don't have that knowledge or education. So that kind of health awareness campaigns we organize for underprivileged communities so that they are aware of the health complications that they might have. And then when we make them aware, we try to connect them with hospitals and clinics so that they get the treatment that they deserve, but they don't afford it. And then we have some community cleaning projects. We have school wall painting project. We have community development project and sexual harassment and anti-bullying project. We have cybersecurity, digital safety projects. All of these projects are run to raise awareness on these topics. And who runs these projects? Our volunteers. Whoever signs up as our volunteer, they have the capability and liberty to run these projects so that they can build awareness and create a positive social sustainable change in the society. So that's all from my side. If you guys are interested to know more on the work that we do or want to associate as a volunteer and learn, even want to learn about how to develop a team and how to organize an organization and build an organization, then reach out to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for an amazing speech, Mrs. Lam. I would like to request you to share your contact details in a chat box so that the participants may connect with you in case they have any queries. Moving ahead, I would like to invite Mr. Kakure Tumusime from Uganda to continue his speech and share his insights with all of us. Yeah, am I audible, Kakuru? Mr. Tumusime, am I audible? Yeah. That's great. If you can please unmute yourself and begin, it would be a pleasure.
Well, I hope I'm audible now. Am I good? Good evening to all of you. I'm glad to join you and happy to speak to all of you people. I'm Kakuru Tumsime. I'm a practicing advocate here in Uganda, in the High Court of Uganda. Mainly, I specialize in human rights protection, and I'm glad we are talking about partnership this evening. Whereas my co-speakers have talked about the insights with forming the partnerships, there are core things we normally face between the partners. Maybe in case there are disputes, you find some partners are not ready to share the profits or loss. Maybe they are disputing about property ownership and whatever. So that becomes a problem. I'm happy that this discussion has also considered the aspects of the social responsibility of partners. Because as we are doing business, we need to consider how responsible can we be to the society surrounding us. One, by protecting the environment. Two, by protecting the rights of the neighbors of such environments. For example, if we are staying here, we shouldn't be powering our waste in the neighborhood that would affect the health of our people. Also, we need to look at the well-being of the workers we employ in our partnerships. I've also had many issues regarding representing such people who are tortured, maybe who are affected or injured while at workplaces. So as we are looking into partnerships, we also need to look at the safety of the workers while at the workplaces. For example, by providing with them all the necessary needs, the gears, the protective gears, giving them trainings so that they can be able to fit in the work environment and give us the best output from what we employ them for. But we also, you see, in partnerships, mostly there are issues that happen. For example, in case a partner dies. So as we are looking into partnerships, we also need to consider the kind of partnerships we are undertaking. For example, we need to consider the continuity of the partnership. There are businesses that have been in partnerships for so long because of the continuity clauses involved in the drafting of these partnership agreements. For example, we might, if we are to consider the continuity not beyond one person while living, we need to consider in drafting the articles, we include that no survivorship can sustain this partnership beyond one person. Because you can wake up and find out of three, one is dead. And because there is no clause that clearly makes the partnership open for continuity, it might collapse and the business aspects would have failed. Then we are also looking at much of disputes between the partners, which is more critical now. Because of business engagements, we find people are not able to keep running well with their businesses. And remember, these partnerships are mainly in shares. So you find if someone has bigger shares, is getting more profits, and then the other one who has small shares gets annoyed with the profit margins between the two. So they bring in those conflicts. But in drafting these partnership agreements, we need to also include in the aspect of ADR, alternative dispute resolution. Because when we go to court, we spend a lot of money and income, which affects the business of a partnership. But if we have ADR, we can choose mediation, can choose arbitration before some independent persons to harmonize our issues so that we can work well while doing our partnerships. We also need to look at the scope what are we targeting? Are we targeting it as a national partnership or an international partnership? Because you might find that we are working now in Uganda or India or wherever, and then at a later stage, now we find a business partner in Bangladesh. But because our partnership agreement is only restricted to those few countries, different countries. So as we are drafting these agreements, we should also consider how big or how large do we want such partnerships. We also look at the management. Every business needs management, and proper management means that the work output will be much and better. So as we are doing these partnerships, we need to also look at how best we can arrange in our agreements who will be able to handle which future in our business. For example, there can be a transport and logistics personnel, there can be a management on maybe the production and distribution, so that we have a clear strategy of how we are running our partnership. And we also look at there's something much important to also consider in this business partnerships. For example, the issue of prohibited dealings. For example, if we have a partnership of about 5 of us, and we are dealing in, let's say, oil and gas as an example, and now for someone of us got another deal to deal in the same products as we are dealing with, and he takes on behind ours as a partners. So that one is not a good way, and it's unethical. That should not be also to innovate some partnership that can be able to work for us. Because most of these issues come up, for example, for some cases we have handled that someone was, they had a partnership company dealing in Microsoft. So they were distributing computers. But then one of the partners got a deal also to supply some computers in a different company. So because he wanted to share the profit alone minus the other partners, he went and took on a business alone. That affected the entire business, and the partnership had to collapse because of non-trustworthiness. So as we consider that, we also need to look at maybe the amounts to contribute as partners, and how our property is going to be managed. For example, is it that the property belongs to the partners, or that each partner has his or her own properties that he's contributing? So we need to also consider the contribution of partners, then the nature of the business. Of course, as we go through various legal countries or jurisdictions, we find that some laws are prohibitable, some items are prohibitable in some countries. So if we are looking at international partnerships, we also need to consider the laws that govern such countries, so that our business, if we have been able to come up with a partnership, organization or company, it has not been affected by any of the member countries which we are intended to deal in. And also we need to look, maybe before I can allow some questions, we need to look at the business operations, because most of these things happen that someone starts a business, a partnership, only dealing one item. But because of the developments, you find out that something new has come up on market, which is marketable, and you want to intend to deal in the same. But because you have already registered your partnership deed, such is limited from you taking on a new initiative, which would be bringing more profits within the company. I think I can allow some questions, or maybe some contributions from you people, but I thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you for the amazing speech, Mr. Tumusiman. I would like to request you to share your email ID and your contact number in the chat box so that if the audience have any queries, they can directly reach out to you. Thank you. Sure. Now
Oh,
moving
okay.
ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Pleasure. Now moving ahead, I would like to share my screen to share the recording for Dr. George Torres Manrique from Judiciary of Peru, and I will try my best. Let's see if it works out or not this time. So is my screen visible, participants? If it is, please raise your hands immediately. Yeah. Ms. Bajpai, is it visible?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Thank you. Now, to tell me if you can hear the audio or not, Ms. Bajpai.
Thanks, Apreciado Doctor. Good morning from Peru. It's Jorge Isaac Torres Manrique, very honored and grateful to the prestigious management consulting firm SK Associates and Group India and the Dr. Taya Bakpai. In this opportunity, we talk about the considerations for the legal incorporation of a
Is
commercial
the audio
corporation.
audible?
First of all, it's important to determine why it's important the legal incorporation of a commercial corporation. By the way, it's a pertinent to point out that in 2024, labor informality in Peru was 71.2% between October 2023 and September 2024. In the first quarter of 2024, the number of active companies increased by 5.8% compared to the same period of the previous year. In this sense, have done we have done characteristics of formal corporations. The complying with obligations such as filing taxes, issuing tax receipts, and keeping accounts, offer job securities, have access to financing, have reputation and trust, have growth and stability. On the other hand, characteristics of informal corporations. They avoid these obligations, which allows them to reduce costs. They do not have access to tax benefits. They not offer job security. They do not have access to financing. Very difficult to obtain reputation and trust. It's more difficult to them to achieve growth and stability. For other hand, we have the choice of the type of society. Corporation of Peru are divided into two groups, partnership and young stock companies. The difference between the two is that in the partnership scheme, the personal activity of the partner is very important, a contribution to the company, while in the capital company scheme, the partner's equity contribution to the company is considered. We have, for example, SA Corporation, SAA Open Corporation, SAC Closed Corporation, AIRL Limited Liability Individual Enterprise, SRL Limited Liability Commercial Enterprise. For other hand, we have how to incorporate a closed held society. Step one, reservation of the company name or corporative name. This procedure is optional, however, it's recommended to perform it because I will not be possible to register a legal entitle in the public registry if one with the same name or corporate name has been previously registered. Then we have the reserve the company name or corporate name of the company, you can proceed or in writing before the National Superintendence and Public Registers, SUNARP, or you can opt for the online procedure through the SUNARP portal web institutional. The service to carry out in the online procedure has a cost 18 sols, which can be paid online if you create an account and portal web institutional in the SUNARP offices. It is recommended that prior to reservation, a search uh, be made through the SUNARP portal web institutional through the option National Directory of Legal Entitles to ensure that the name of company name uh, to the reserve is not being used by another legal entitle. This service is free of charge. Step 2, prepare the articles of incorporation. The articles of incorporation is a contract signed by the founders of the corporation that must comply with the following requirements. For example, identification of the funding partners. There must be at least two partners, either natural persons or legal entities, while of the partners to form a company among the capital stock and its division into shares for a payment of the subscribed capital. In this point, it should be clarified that the contributions that we make up the capital stock can have two natures, monetary or non-monetary. Depending on their nature, certain additional documents must be submitted of the public registries in order to provide their realization and obtain the registration of the company. Amount contributed by each partner appointed the general management, manager, legal representatives, and directors. In a closely held corporation, the board or directors is optional. Article 247 of the General Corporation Law. It must be expressly stated that is not have a board of directors. Bylaws of the corporation, which must have the minimum content established in the Article 55 of the General Corporations Law. Step 3, we have submissions of the documents of the notary office. Minutes signatures of the founders of the company and authorized by the lawyer. Identification of the funding partners. If the partner is a legal entitled, then the power of attorney of the person who represented in the act of the corporation is required. Original document is of registration of the name of corporate name if applicable. When the contributions are monetary, a certain of deposit in a bank account of the company in information is required. Not all banks necessarily their this possibility and the requirements to open the account are subject to what each bank determines. Normally, it's required to present a copy of the minutes with the notary stamp and the copy of the document national identity of the legal representative of the company. The procedure can be carried out by a third party. Uh, when the contributions are not monetary, it's required to insert in the public deed for mobile assistance a declaration of the general manager stating that has received them. For both mobile and mobile assets, it's necessary that in a public deed of incorporation, it's indicate that they are transferred to the corporation and the sufficient information that allows to individuals see them. Likewise, valuation report signed by the person who made the valuation, his name, ID number, and address must be attached. Also, this also valid for the partners to declare how much the assets are worth instead of making a technical evaluations. Legal basis, articles 35 or 36 of the corporate registry regulations and article 27 of the general corporate law. The notary's office, uh, the proceeds, they convert the minutes into a public deed. The corresponding notarial documents, which are copies of public deed authorized by the notary, are submitted to SUNARP for registration in the Register of the Legal Entities. SUNARP has a term of 7 working days to carry out the registration. Finally, step 4, registration in the single registers of tax papers. Uh, the taxpayers, the legal representative of the company must submit the following documentation to SUNAR for registration in the RR or UC. First, the forms annexed, duly complete, copy of the electricity, water or telephone bill, not older than 2 months. Thank you very much for your attention.
So I guess that was Dr. Torres' speech, and I would like to request Ms. Bajpai if you could just share his contact details in the chat box for our attendees. In case they have any queries, they can directly reach out to him.
Sure, sure.
Sure. Would you like to carry out from your Ms. Bajpai? Yeah. So now, as we come to the close of this remarkable conference, we would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you. The knowledge shared, the insights gained, and the connections made throughout the session have all contributed to the success of this event. Even as I was hearing out to Dr. Manrique in the last, I could not take my eyes off the chat box, wherein our teams are obviously discussing of scheduling interviews for all our conference panelists in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, we'll be waiting gladly for the sessions too. And yeah, so moving ahead, we are truly grateful for your participation, and we do understand that sitting continuously for 1.5 hours on all 3 days can be really hectic and painful, at least for our needs, right? So as we wrap up our conference, we kindly request all attendees and speakers to take a moment to provide your valuable feedback and reviews in the chat box. The inputs and thoughts are highly appreciated as they will help us improve future events and continue delivering high quality conferences. Thank you all for your participation and for being an integral part of this remarkable event. We look forward to your reviews and hope to see you all at the last session of Conference 4.4 tomorrow. Until we meet again, stay inspired, keep dreaming, and continue to strive for excellence. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.